Hi folks, welcome to lesson 2 of the P1 energy topic. This is about renewable energy resources. So for starters, who do you think this is and what has she got to do with global and national energy resources? We started looking at these last lesson. Okay, so I expect you got it right because she's been in the press a lot. This is Greta Thunberg, and she's a Swedish climate youth activist who received worldwide recognition for her efforts to fight climate change. Now, she isn't on the syllabus, but if you think about her activities in 2019 and 2020, then she's definitely got a role in bringing to the forefront of our minds lots of environmental issues. Okay, so today we're looking at renewable energy resources, so have your key word sheet handy and be looking over those definitions. And this is a really good way of recapping on previous knowledge. It's a great way to keep your knowledge current and up to date of things that you've studied in the past. I'm not going to go through it all because I'm just going to show you what the sheet will look like, and you should have one attached to the work, or if you're in school, cover teacher can hand this out to you. And then have a go at them. They don't take very long, but you're looking at lessons, at things from the last few lessons or a previous topic. Right, pause the video, have a go at it. When you're finished, restart the video and we'll go through the answers. Okay, so I think I'll just leave this here for you to take the answers down yourselves. Obviously, we've only had one lesson so far in this topic, so that's the recent recap. So I'm looking at some things from Year 8 energy and some things from Year 7 energy, but all relevant. Okay, off you go and mark that then. So this is what we're going to do today. If we can outline how we use renewable energy resources to generate electricity, that would be one level. But if we're explaining why some are, and there are two things you need to do here, some are more reliable than others, and also identifying the different environmental impact, that takes you to the next level. And then a discussion which often involves pros and cons of each environmental energy source, energy resource for environmental issues or things like that, then that would take you to a further level. Okay. Right then, so the next bit of this lesson involves you accessing 3 videos. And then you've got a variety of ways of recording the information. You can either run the whole video and then look at the next slide, which will help you consolidate the reliability of the source and the environmental impact of the source, or you can use one of these support documents and fill in the relevant parts of it, because that covers the same thing. So you will need to stop this video and get the video links from the PowerPoint itself. Okay, you can't take them off of the video directly. So we'll start with wind and solar. Here's the link, so come out of this video, go into the other PowerPoint and load it. It's only 2 minutes 45, but we're looking at getting the information about reliability and environmental impact. Okay, off you go. So if you've watched the video, here we've got a list of pros and cons, which is positives and negatives. But from this, we're going to take, okay, well, what's the environmental impact of using wind and solar power? And everybody usually says, well, they don't damage the environment because they don't release CO2. So definitely, when these are operational, a wind farm or solar panels, they certainly don't produce CO2. But making them might have produced polluting gases. Okay, lots of people say wind farms don't look nice. That would be classed as visual pollution, or they're too noisy, so that would be sound pollution. And they do definitely take up lots of space. Solar panels take up lots of space, although they can actually, of course, be put on roofs. And wind farms have a big base, concrete base, to support the stem on which the blades are and turbine are situated, so they do take up lots of space. You can farm around them, but the bases do still take up a lot of space at the bottom. In terms of reliability, are they reliable? Well, they're both dependent on the weather. Solar panels don't work at night. Solar cells don't work at night. The wind farms, they won't work when the wind's too strong or when the wind is too weak. So they're classed as not very reliable because of their dependency on the weather. Okay, now over to geothermal. So geothermal is a renewable energy resource. Okay, so watch the video. There are some support sheets. Okay, again, we're looking at the environmental impact and reliability of using geothermal power. So remember, you have to get the link from the PowerPoint itself. Okay, so when we're thinking about geothermal power, then you can't use this source of energy, which comes from underneath the ground, in every area around the world. So only in certain areas where the crust is a bit thinner and we've got sources of this energy closer to the surface. Reliable over long periods of time, certainly. And then often people think environmental impact, there isn't any of geothermal, but the buildings, they can be quite unsightly. Running it shouldn't produce any polluting gases. So on to our last one today, video anyway, of biofuels. Okay, so this is a fuel, so that's something that we burn to release energy, and this is from living material. And a key thing here to watch out for when you're watching that video is, what does carbon neutral mean? So if you can pause this video, go onto the PowerPoint, find the link from there, watch the video and collect some information. Okay, so reliability, remember, and environmental impact. So environmental impact can be a great substitute for fossil fuels, except by burning a biofuel rather than a fossil fuel, we are cutting down areas of land which might have been forest, and therefore we'll lose that habitat. We'll lose those trees which take in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere as the plants are photosynthesizing. So that's an issue there. If we're going to harvest the fuel, if we're going to process the fuel, if we're going to transport the fuel, all of that in itself does require energy. So these are not quite as carbon neutral as you might have originally thought. Because normally people say, well, the carbon dioxide that's been taken in is just simply released when it's burnt, so overall there's no increase in carbon dioxide. However, because of these processes, then it's not quite as simple as offsetting the carbon dioxide like that. So they're reliable as long as you've got a supply, but sometimes the fuels take a while to grow. So they're only reliable as long as you've got your fuel. And when you run out of fuel, then it's not a reliable resource anymore. Now, hydroelectricity is another renewable source of energy, and there is a great video file in the audiovisual drive at school. So if you're in school and you have a cover teacher, you could ask them to put this one on. It's called Electric Mountain, and it's based on the Norwick hydroelectric plant, which is in North Wales. Which, if you're in North Wales and it happens to be a rainy day and you don't want to walk up Snowdon, then you can go and visit this this hydroelectric plant. So we're talking about water moving from a higher reservoir down to a lower reservoir, and in that process the moving water spins the turbine, which, as you remember, spins the generator, and that generates electricity. Okay. When we're talking about wave power, this hasn't really developed as much as some people thought. It certainly doesn't produce polluting gases, but it would interfere with passage of boats and certainly marine habitats, and there isn't a commercial wave power generating station in the UK at the moment. Okay, so on to looking at an exam question. This would be a good one. So hydroelectric, tidal power, wave power and wind power are all renewable energy resources. explain what a renewable energy resource is. And then name the renewable energy resource listed above that doesn't need energy from the sun. Might have to think about that one for a while. And the next one does not need water and is unreliable. Pause the video, have a go at that, and I'll pop the answers up. Okay, so here we go. I'll let you read that. I'll let yourself assess. Off you go. Okay, so if you're looking for a slightly harder question, here is a community of people living in the mountains. They're not connected to the national grid, which distributes the electricity usually to all homes. So these people aren't. So they want to buy an electricity generating system that uses either the wind or the flowing water in a nearby river. So it's giving you some information about electricity generation systems, and what you've got to do is see if you can come up with clear information about which energy system you would choose. Okay, so I hope you pause the video to have a go at that one. And here are some advantages of both methods, and then separated out into advantages of wind, advantages of hydroelectric, and then the corresponding disadvantage. If you ever get a question which asks you to compare the information, you must be very careful that you look at both advantages and disadvantages, and be careful if it's plural too. Okay, so have we met our objectives? Have a look through these. And remember, there are loads of resources on YouTube. You've got your revision guides as well. BBC Bite Size is excellent, so if you feel you skipped over one of these and you want to go back and get some more information, then off you go and do that. Meanwhile, go back to your appropriate student progress sheet and you can sum up how you got on this lesson. Okay, thank you very much.